Greetings, comrades. I'm Gigantals, and today's going to be a bit of a weird video, as you can see from the title. You're probably wondering what is it actually talking about. So, yeah, forgive me for still got my cold. It's basically how long ago was it now? It is several months ago. So just before you listen, it's over a year ago now. Maybe almost 2. What ended up happening was I was looking at one of the YouTubers that I used to follow, Dashi Games, and I used to follow him because he would swear a lot and it was funny, right? Because swearing is funny apparently. And what happened was one day I saw him play this game. I was like, what's this? And it looked really cool. What game was it? Well, it was a game called Honkai Third Impact, made by MiHoYo, and I thought. Sorry, I didn't cough for that. And I thought, well, this was like an interesting game because all these combos just putting in attacks. I was like, cool. So I downloaded that same day, and I immediately loved the game. I mean, I got to level I leveled up in terms of my character. I leveled up to level 13 in one day and completed the entire first chapter, which was quite something. I mean, it was big for me because I love that game. I love that game, and over the next year. It was over a year now, actually. I played that game for over a year, and I was really good at it. So I had like 30, almost 40 different characters. I mean, technically, there were only like 4 characters in the beginning of the game, 4 or 5 characters in the beginning of the game, and they'll give you different variations of them. That'll make them they're tough in different situations, and then they started adding new people in. So I had almost like 40 characters out of 57. So it's quite something. And out of like the 100 and something, out of like 150 costumes, I had almost 100 of them. Like this is one of those games where you could buy stuff in game, and I never actually did that. I strove to always get as much stuff as I could. So whenever a new costume came out, I'd always strive to get the items needed to unlock it or whatever. I hope that one day I'd get those that I didn't unlock. And I remember a lot about this game because I was so into it. And then like the various things you get in the skin, like stigmata, which are these weird tattoos on your back, which would give you different things. So I had hundreds of these stigmata. Some of them useless, some of them weak, some of them really powerful. Hundreds of these weapons, and when you get into this game, I was very good. I got to level 82, I think it was, within a year. No, I got level 70 something within a year, and then I got to level 82 when they upped the leveling up limit, and I eventually started getting, because the characters the basic levels of training, you have a class C, class B, class A, class S, class double S, class triple S. I got to the point that I had 2 triple S characters, a whole bunch of double S, and the rest were S. So I was very good at this game. When I played it with the Tommy Kid 258, him and I were basically unstoppable. He had a couple of characters he was very good at, and then I had my super powerful character that I always favoured and always fought with her. She was very strong. And as you can tell from just how into depth I'm going, I was very into this game. If I had any recordings of it, I would put it up. I actually considered doing that, but the problem was when it was on my old phone over there, and for some reason, whenever I tried to do screen recording, it would never record the audio. So I'd have to turn up the volume to record it manually, but the problem, so it recorded on the microphone, but then you'd hear everything else. But I was very good at the game. But when it came to events, I would always get everything in events. I'd get all the rewards, all the new currency, everything. I was rich. I had like over 1 million coins, and just when they extended new things like this weird like a dormitory and beach hut where there's like little chibi versions of all the people you have could live. I had all of them. I had them all upgraded to the maximum levels. I was on like out of the first chapter, I was like a chapter 10, completing everything, all of them on the normal difficulty, hard difficulty, and then supreme difficulty. So I was very good at this game. And when it came to events, I was sometimes, if I worked hard enough and early enough, I was the best in the world. I don't have evidence of any more, and there's a reason why. So what happened was, when I was doing my A-levels, for some reason I decided, well, I've got to focus my attention here on 4 different things. So A levels, friends, channel, and the game. And I eventually managed to, eventually I went back to what I did for whenever I did tests. So I said, okay, well, I'm gonna have to put my channel on hold for a bit, and I did. It was on hold for a while, and then friends, I tried it limited, and then the game I tried limited to only night. Problem was, I was spending whole hours on this game. Like at breakfast, I would spend an hour trying to get everything from overnight. During the day, I might try and go in and just do a whole bunch of missions, like because you have daily, weekly missions, right? And then you have like multiplayer missions which you can do with people in your armada, which is like a group of people that you work together to do stuff. And I was like the captain, like really powerful captain. I was always donating stuff to everyone because I had so much. And this sounds like time consuming, it really was. And then at night, I would spend whole hours just trying to get everything done. I'd spend whole hours trying to get everything done, trying to get everything to my absolute level, to try and continuously grow and improve and everything. I think one of the worst parts was, it used to be every 3 times a week, but then it got downgraded to 2. They did something called like the Infinity Abyss, which is where you could go into like this, where there were like 33 floors in this, these certain levels. So you'd have different levels of this abyss, they each have different names, but then it'll be like really easy, normal, medium hard, very hard, supreme, and there are 33 levels in each, and every 5 levels you fight this boss, and they were open for 48 hours, and you needed to try and get as high up as you could in there, because then you'd get different rewards. And if you got high enough within one stage of that abyss, you'll get. If you got low enough, you would either stay in there if you were in the bottom, or you'd be downgraded one. If you got in the middle, you'd stay there. If you went in the higher, you'd be upgraded to the next one. I think in all my time, I've only ever made it to like the second to the top abyss, which is how hard it was. But the problem is this was very time consuming, especially because I would need to do this over and over again. Because sometimes the levels were so hard that I would have to quickly shut down the game and restart it again so that my characters didn't die, and I'd recycle them. And it would take whole minutes to do this while your life was draining away. So it was very time consuming and time pressured. And then you started replacing with other things that go on at the same time. But the whole point was this game took hours and hours a day of my life to try and get anyway. So I was like, it's very, very, very good at this game. But it started cutting in massively to my life. And so a bunch of stuff happened, and the whole purging, almost all ending, the sudden ending of me playing gaming on YouTube, especially the violent games, linked in with the sudden purging of all the manga and anime I was reading and watching, because I decided, what? Even watching this? Like, why? Because, as many of you may know out there, it's a manga, you look at it, or anime, like Attack on Titan, you look at it and you go, that's too violent, what's going on? Why is he chewing on him? And the others are just like, what is this? What is this logic? Why is that happening? That's disgusting. Like, that kind of stuff. So it wasn't just with the gaming, but it was throughout my whole life. So everything about my life changed with the whole reading lists and watch lists and play and gaming lists and everything. And this game was one of them. Because one of the things that this game seems to indulge in is, you may know just by looking at it, is literally just, there was a period of time, like during the summer, that had these summer events where these girls would be running on like bikinis and everything. I'm like, why? Oh, it's because you're anime, or in the anime style. But point was, this stuff was it didn't match who I was anymore. So that was one of the factors in it. And then there was the time, the amount of time I was taking in my life, and then a couple of other stuff that happened, and I realized that this game was actually being more negative than anything. Like, it was going to the point that I wasn't addicted to this game, but it was at the point in which I realized what was going on, yet I, for some reason, couldn't stop myself from doing it. And that's when university was actually a really good thing for me, because when you can actually look at that when I did my first day university vlog, that was the important day, because the night before, I finished everything I could in that game. I finished the tip. Okay, so I did all the weekly missions, all the daily missions, all the stuff I need to do, and then I just left. Bit anticlimactic, isn't it? I just left the game, and I spent like 4 or 5 days off that game, and it's a huge amount of free time, just free time everywhere. And I didn't need to keep thinking, okay, how am I going to complete this level? I need to complete this mission before then. I need to complete that one. I need to get all these little like Valentine's Day hearts to try and get enough to save up for that Valentine's Day stigmata. I just had free time in my hands. And then Atomic Kid 2580, who also had the game, that was one of the ways that we interacted with each other, said, look man, you're going to be kicked out from the Armada because you're not in it, because you're not being active. Because apparently there's a rule that if you're not active within 20, if the captain, the leader of the Armada, the admiral of the Armada isn't active in for 24 hours, then 48 hours, then there'll be an election to choose who the next admiral will be. So I quickly went back on the game, ignored all the new event stuff that I was missing out on, made him the admiral, left the game, and removed it, and just left it for my life. And then I went through all my recordings and screenshots, and removed all the achievements and stuff I'd done in the game. So I removed all the footage of me playing. I removed all the weird glitches I found. Some of them were just weird. And I removed all the screenshots of my victory, all the screenshots of me being #1 in the world. So unless you played that game too, maybe you saw my name up there. I mean, I had the same name, Gigantals. I was called Gigantals. If you have that game, you're very welcome to go to my profile and see just how strong I was, because I was quite strong. But after that, I haven't looked back. I've completely cut out Honkai Third Impact from my life. And whereas a lot of people may be saying, well, you should just control yourself better. That's the point. It was quite hard to control myself with that. And I stopped playing it because it was interfering too much with my life. So ever since September, late September or so, I've not played that game anymore, and it's actually done me a lot. It's actually benefited my life a lot more. I've got a lot more time for things that I want to do, like making videos and stuff. Because gaming, as you know, gaming, for those of you who've ever made a gaming video, you'll find it's actually a lot easier to make a gaming video than it is educational, because you've got to research it, you've got to put together like pretty much like a PowerPoint for it, you've got to get the audio ready, you've got to get everything together. Gaming, you just play it and record. And then you put your webcam face over that if you have a webcam, and then you just pop it up on YouTube. But I've got a lot more time for that sort of stuff now, and there's just a lot more time in general. And that was because I gave up that game. So again, I'm not saying I was addicted to that game, guys, but what I am saying is that it was taking up too much of my time. And when I finally realized it, I realized I needed to get off it. And when I did get off it, it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. So if any of you do have that game, you're very welcome. And check out my profile on that. Again, same as a channel name, Gigantals. But I'm not going back to that game, no matter how people inquire or beg me to, because I made the decision a while back to leave that game, and I did. I'm glad I did. I really am glad. And and whilst I'm saying that, everyone who's playing the game doesn't necessarily need to leave it, because it's so time consuming. That's one of the problems when it comes to video games and stuff. Like they've officially registered video gaming as like an official addiction now, called by the WHO. Who? Well, the World Health Organization, obviously. Who designed that? Just who came up with that name, man? Anyway, so that's one of the big problems when it comes to nowadays. Video gaming can be quite addictive, and I almost got sucked into that trap myself. Though I wouldn't compare it to, like drug addiction or sex addiction, or just any form of addiction like that physically harms you or messes up with your life as massively as that. Because, the only big thing about this game really, if you put aside all my beliefs and all this stuff about what this game, me not agreeing with the game anymore, and you just look at what it was doing to my life, you would say that, okay, well, it consumed too much of your time, so you stopped it. Again, I never put my my bank details on the game to pay for stuff in store, but I can imagine that people who do play those types of games, which you do pay for a lot of stuff in store, that they can spend a huge amount of money on what's going on in their game, and that again, I wouldn't classify that as strongly as drug or sex addiction or anything like that, but It is, it is some form of, mild addiction, because it's consuming your time, it's consuming your money, you're focused solely on it. It's almost like your whole life revolves around it, regardless of what's going on. It could be messing up everything in your life, but you're still focused on that. And it's important that when you face a situation like this, you need to know when to stop. I mean, I stopped because it was consuming too much of my time as the primary reason. Secondary reasons were, I don't agree with it, I just got focused on other stuff, but it was consuming too much of my time. And that's one of the things when it comes to video gaming culture. It's fine to play video games. I mean, I may have opinions on what you should play and shouldn't play, but in the end, it's all about you. Well, if you want to play that game, you're very welcome to. If you want to play that game for 5 hours straight, you're very welcome to. But you need to be aware of just how much of your life that game is consuming. If it's taking away too much of your life and interfering with the rest of your life, you need to control yourself. Because that's what happened to me. I realized what he was doing and I stopped it. But there are a lot of people out there who won't be able to stop, and they do need support. Okay, no, again, not the same amount of level of support as you need for proper addiction, like drug addiction, but they do need some support. They need to be made aware of the negative consequences of that game, of the video game on their life, in regards to how hard it is to accept it, because it is a very real thing. Like in Ready Player One, the people were so focused on the people hated the world the way it was in, and so they just focused more on the Oasis. But then that also negatively impacted them, because then they were so focused on that they just ignored the rest of the world spinning away, just decaying away around them. And that's the problem. You need to focus. Again, you need to focus on the real world, okay? Because the real world may suck. It really may do. It may really do. But if you just abandon it, it won't improve. If it sucks, you got to go out there and do something about it. You got to improve it for yourself. Because otherwise, if you just leave this real world and stay in the fictional world, all you're going to do is just make the problem for yourself. You're just going to become too focused on that real, in that fake world. But as James Halliday, I believe it was, said in the movie, to be honest, I have mixed feelings about the book and the movie. I didn't like the book much, and the movie wasn't very loyal to the book. But there's James Halliday in that movie. Now, something along the lines of, the Oasis may seem nice, but the difference between the real world and the Oasis is that the real world is the only place you can get a decent sandwich. And you got to remember that, guys. You got to remember, it doesn't matter where you go in life. It doesn't matter what video game you play. It doesn't matter what movie you watch or whatever's going on in your life. You are in the real world, and you need to accept that. And if you don't like the real world, don't escape from it into somewhere else. Because you're not leaving your problems anywhere else. You're basically just sticking your head through the clouds at some other place where you're spending all your time, but you're not noticing your body wasting away around you, and just things changing. And if you isolate yourself from society, from the real world, that's just going to impact negatively on you. You need to focus on the real world as hard as it can be. And if you don't like it, then that means you just got to change it. You got to change with it. I mean, okay, usually it's not the second option, but if you're in a bad situation, you've got to change that for yourself. Don't escape from it, because if you spend your whole life running, you'll just collapse from exhaustion and you won't be able to get up. So what's this video may have changed from from just talking about why I stopped playing a game to all of a sudden a deep philosophical thing about video games and reality. Seriously, guys, I stopped playing that game because it was taking up too much of my time, and I no longer agreed with it. But primarily because it was taking up too much of my time when I should be spending that time elsewhere. As any of my family will tell you, I was spending hours on that game. Hours and hours. And I do make sure that when people do play video games, when I hear people talk about playing video games, I do make sure, I do remind them, make sure you play moderation, right? You got a life, you got to live it. Just don't spend too much time in that game. And they're like, yeah, okay, don't worry, we are. And that's good. You guys, those of you playing video games out there too, you need to moderate how much you play video games. You do not want to end up being sucked into a black hole of focusing on video games solely because this world sucks. Seriously. That's never benefited anyone. So, remain grounded in the real world, guys. Video games may be a welcome distraction from the real world, but never forget the fact that your head may be in the clouds, but your feet are on this earth. Yeah, so that's for today, guys. So if you like this video, please do like it, please share my videos, please do comment, think of any other things you want to talk about. Please subscribe to my channel so you can see all this content, and please remember to keep up with my video releases. And again, one final message, again, final message to you guys out there. Just make sure if you do something, make sure you do it in moderation. Okay? Because it can be really hard to, if you don't, it can be really time consuming. Just eat away at your time. And that's one thing you don't want to do, because you've got a limited amount of time on this earth and you've got to do something with it. Video games shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be that one thing. Okay? So, there's just community message out there. And so, hopefully next video, I'll find something a bit more positive to talk about. See you next video, comrades. Until then.